which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Student staff recognition. Can I take this?
All right. So we have our high school counselors.
Come around. So you have received an email sharing a little bit of information about what our high school counselors, what the team achieved. And so I can read off the recognition, but what I want to do before I do that is just introduce everyone. I don't know if you actually know everyone. So Alex McLeod, Rhonda Dion, she focuses mostly on our 9th grade. Rhonda is our 9th grade counselor. Heather Mergida, and Linda Murphy. So our 4 school counselors started on a journey 2 years ago, a year and a half. And it was actually, I think, an interest initially of Miss Murphy, and she was interested in really, you guys come closer. She was really interested in exploring the good work that our counselors are doing, and through the American School Counselors Association, so we call that ASCA. And in the past year and a half of very diligent work, they have achieved, one of only 2 schools in the entire state, they have achieved what's called RAMP. It's Recognized ASCA, or the American School Counseling Association, model program. Now, that may seem like, okay, it's a model program, so others will do what they do. But what they do is go very, very deep into identifying what our students' needs are. They had to look at specific data, track that data, make plans, check the plans. They had to look at how their hours were spent, their minutes were spent, their phone calls. They had to break down their time, and they had to ensure that they were working towards students' needs, which sometimes that's not always what you get to do during the day because there are other things that need to be done. So I don't want to minimize. I want to just share with you that the reality is this honor reflects our school counseling team's commitment, and that's a really important word, to implementing what's known as a comprehensive data-informed program that's aligned with the national model. So this is beyond the state of Rhode Island, and it's focused on really supporting the tiers that students need, which is the academic, the career, and the social emotional success of all students. And so as you think about your, back in the day, guidance counselor, right, guide. The names have definitely shifted. They are school counselors, and that's because every part of a student's experience in school, they're a part of. They know. They're the ones that pull our students or push our students or guide our students or help our students. And they've always had this desire, but when you look at what the standards are, even though your intent is to do it, you might not know how to shift some things. And they were diligent, they were committed, they were data-driven, they worked really well as a team, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to tell you what a wonderful recognition this is, how proud I am, how pleased I am, and it wasn't something that was done like, let's just do it when we have time. They had to make a commitment to ensure they were still working with our students, yet filling out the paperwork and the application, right? Because that let's acknowledge that you can't just say, I'm doing it. There has to be evidence that you put forward, and then you get scored on it. And so I congratulate you, I thank you, and we have a recognition tomorrow morning. You did receive an invitation if you're available. It starts at 8:30 here, and there's gonna be food and drinks and a fun time. So, yeah, no, coffee. Would you like to speak a little bit more about it and just give them, or you?
No, you did a great job, and I just to like kind of focus a little bit more on some of the work that we did. We are getting more into classrooms, so we're on a regular basis. We're working with, this isn't something you can do alone, right? We need to do it with teachers. We need to do it with the administration, and if we didn't have the administrative support, we wouldn't be able to even get as far as we got with this. So we have to have a deliberate approach to how we're running our program. We plan an annual calendar. It's on our school counseling tab. You can see that, of all the things that we do, and they're dated. So we have an exact plan for every step of the process throughout the year. And when we're collecting data, when we're working with small groups, we're targeting students that might be failing in math. We're all working on 9th grade and 10th grade geometry and algebra students, and working with them with executive functioning, making sure that they're meeting with their teachers during W4, because a lot of these students don't book themselves during W4 for the support they need because they don't like the subject. So that's where we're helping them. Besides doing like some social emotional work, we've been doing that a couple of lessons the past few years in the PE classes. So we're like a guest speaker for a day, and we collect data about the students' mindset and behaviors around the topics that we're talking about, whether it be focusing on grit, like really, working hard, and your behaviors towards anything in life. So that's a really great lesson that we like. We're doing college lessons in the classroom. So that's a way that when it was a guidance counselor, you could only meet with a few. With being a school counselor and putting together this program, we're meeting with all students at some point, more than we used to, during the school year, not just when they're getting ready for college. So that makes it a little bit more powerful for us because we're doing what we really like to do. So, thank you. Oh, in the Northeast, so even though Smithfield got the award this year, we did apply last year and didn't get it. It was really a tough application, and even to this day, I look back at the application and I'm like, I can't believe we lost a point for that, right? So we were really close last year. So this was our second year, so we're in our third full year of implementation. But across the country, or in the Northeast in general, there's only one school right now in Connecticut and one school in Maine that have this, and it's one high school and one elementary school. So nobody in the Northeast has been, I don't want to say nobody, very few at minimal have been doing this work. And if they're doing the work, they might be doing it, but they're not doing it to the level where they're collecting the data, keeping the data, having an advisory council, and doing all this work so that we're deliberate about what we do. So across the country, I think we might have been about 150 schools that received it this time around. And it's good for 5 years. And you don't have to pay our memberships for 5 years. Anything else I missed? Anyway.
Congratulations. Public comment? Nope.
There you go. Can you hear me? I might as well ask this early because before I listen to what you guys say about it. But you've got an agenda here, 16, discussion approval of APRA coordinator stipend. My question would be, how many requests are outstanding on that? And I don't know what this public versus personal property for school committee members is. What, which I'm sure you'll explain it in very detailed fashion when it gets to it. But that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 6, approval of meeting minutes, January 8th, January 10th, January 20th, and January 28th, 2026.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the open meeting on January 8th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So the vote will be
7-0.
701?
Yep.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session meeting on January 8th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the open meeting on January 10th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the open meeting on January 20th, 2026.
All those in favor?
We need
Aye.
a second.
Oh,
Second.
thank you, Michael. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Oh, that would be Michael and Amy. Do they have to abstain?
Are you,
Wait.
Because that, the workshop, the workshop. Amy, Mara, and Joyce.
so it would be,
Oh, that was the one before. That was the one before.
they can approve,
I'm sorry, I went back to the workshop one. The workshop one,
January 20th?
February 10th is January 10th, and I only did this so it would be easier.
to understand it,
So
okay,
there's only one person absent, one is absent tonight.
okay,
So one abstained and one, so it would be 7-0-1, correct?
right,
Shelley
Correct.
Yes.
abstained.
yep,
And then this one would be 503 if it's approved.
5-0-3, right.
But yeah, Mark's not here, so
Exactly.
he's not
So it'd be 4?
so 502.
Four.
So it was only us, right? Yeah, sorry.
5-0-3 in Marcus.
Well, he's not abstaining because he's not here, so five,
He's not, so that became correct.
3 abstentions, Ms. Joyce, Ms. Ferrera, Ms. Mara, Mr. Mara, right? 3 abstentions, which leaves 5 people
Yep.
left because Mark can't vote, so it should be 5-0-3.
0-3.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session meeting on January 20th, 2026.
Second. Thanks, Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
So I'm just gonna confirm that would be the same 5-0.
503. You guys should put that because I forget what I
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the open meeting on January 28th, 2026.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I understand, I would have been there if I knew about it, but
1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 404, right?
Yep.
Correct.
how does it pass if it's not a majority?
Abstentions.
It's a majority of those voting. 4-0.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session meeting on January 28th, 2026.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Abstain.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 0, 4.
Number 7, approval of monthly bills.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the monthly bills dated January 1st, 2026 to January 31st, 2026 in the amount of $893,168.68.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Number 8, finance update, budget and finance.
Just a question on the monthly bills. Everyone that's receiving the electronic copy, are you okay receiving the monthly bills electronically as well going
Yeah.
forward? Okay. All right, so revenue and expense report for the month of January, we're at 62.42% collected for revenue, and we're 48.48% for expense. Our fund balance and our capital fund balance have been updated too as of 6/30/2025 based on the audit.
Do you have to vote on that before I do the budget? Anyone have any questions for Ann? Thank you. Update fiscal year 27 budget?
Yep. You all have a draft. We're not looking for an increase this year overall. The way the enrollment numbers and the EWAC that we use for debt and capital, the way those numbers come out, Gloucester does get hit, and Foster does not. They'll have a credit. If you look at the non-salary expenses, the biggest driver is the out-of-district tuition. That's estimated to go up 137%, which is really out of our control, but that's the bulk of the non-salary piece. With the 0% increase, we are going to have to cut some positions. For
May I
debt.
please stop for may I ask a question,
Yep.
please? Renee, are the out-of-district tuition special needs, or are they tech schools? What are the out-of-district tuitions?
So the out-of-district tuition that Ann is referencing are students who need to be placed out of district for needs.
That's what I want, okay, that's,
Yep.
yeah, okay, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, I just want to get it while you're talking about it, thank you.
So for debt service, we have 3 more years left on the bond. Capital, we're asking for the same amount, but as you can see, the swing between Foster and Gloucester, just because of enrollment and EWAC, Gloucester does get hit on that. We do have an amount in there for using fund balance, and that's mostly because there's a lot of expenses that are still unknown. We don't know what our insurance premiums are gonna be at. We don't know property and casualty, health and dental. It's a negotiation year, so we don't know where those are gonna fall. So there's still a lot of unknowns, so that leaves the cushion in there for that.
May I ask a question about this year's fund balance use? How much have we used, if anything, so far this year? Because I know we budgeted 400,000.
We haven't used anything so far.
Beautiful, okay, good, that's because that is a concern. I don't want to create a structural deficit by
Right.
digging in, okay, thank you.
State aid is, this is based on the estimate that came out a few weeks ago. It is up from last year. Tuition revenue, we have increased a little bit, but that's another thing that's a little unknown at this point. And I think that's about it, yeah.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Ann? Okay, thank you. Superintendent's report. So under my report, you have the personnel actions. There were 3 non-renewals, a resignation, 2 leave of absence of certified, and 1 leave of absence of non-certified.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the leave of absences as presented in the superintendent's report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Okay,
CTE Spotlight?
I think we had tabled originally thought we'd have to table the non-renewal until after executive session, but there are non-renewals on there of non-tenured teachers, which would have been moved to item 21. I don't know if you want to do that now or you want to wait until after executive session. It's on the personnel action.
Should we wait till? So you want me to pull the motion then?
No, that's okay, never mind, you can
The motion
wait
was
till
only
next
for the
one.
leave of
Yeah.
absences.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. It is, that's right, we thought we were going to. Okay. All right, CT Spotlight? Is that what we're on?
Yes.
Okay. So this is CT Spotlight Month for Rhode Island Department of Education, and I'd like to just highlight 2, we have wonderful programs.
Renee?
We have,
Renee,
okay.
you're talking to, I
Oh,
can't.
sorry.
I can't.
There we go. Is that better? Is that better? Okay. And I'll keep my head straight because I tend to move. This month is CTE Spotlight through Rhode Island Department of Education. And so we have 17, currently we have 17 programs, and that's due to your teachers' passion and desire to not only propose, build these programs, sit at state level meetings, but really proud of that work, and we did share a lot of that at our workshop. But I want to highlight for you 2 programs specifically. I don't know how familiar you are with our firefighting program. However, last Thursday, very, very, very cold day, but our students were out participating in an ice rescue. So Bob Shields, resident and wonderful wealth of knowledge, came during the day, along with our local fire departments, and they outfitted the students, they put them out in the pond, and they went in the water, and they rescued one another. We actually had Mrs. Hill, one of our assistant principals at the high school, she got rescued. So I just want to recognize the collaborative partnership work that we have with our town employees. They are there, they took the time out of their day, and we have 45 kids, I believe, in our firefighting program, and 2 of whom are interested in going into firefighting. And Chief Eustace has said there's one that's already lined up to go who graduated last year. So students around the state and the country, I don't know if they get an opportunity to really participate in an ice rescue program or opportunity, and that is because of our CTE program. Which again is Chris Stanley. That was a passion of his. He advocated for it. He secured the funds through the Champlain Grant, and I don't want to miss an opportunity to say that was really great, a really great experience. It was cold. I was out there. It was cold, but they weren't cold because they were in the proper gear. And the second part is our CTE program spotlight is construction management. So this year we're piloting really student learning in a co-teaching model between the classroom job site and mathematics, geometry and construction, right? It's a natural connection. And so this year we're piloting co-taught between Zach Collins, he's one of our math teachers, and Steve Martin. And they share the same students, and sometimes they're in the lab space and sometimes they're in the classroom. So it's really learning about the math and then using the math. So you know, we're looking at what we have in place, they're reflecting, they're analyzing, and I'm confident that we're going to strengthen that co-teaching approach. So I wanted to highlight those 2, especially because it's CTE Spotlight Month.
Terrific. Thank you. Semi-annual bullying report?
I think that's in your packet.
Yep.
So that's just informational. You
Okay.
get this twice a year.
Terrific. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you. Confirmation of subcommittee appointments. We just wanted to go over this again, just to make sure everyone is clear on what subcommittee that they signed up for. Everyone has it in their packet. Is everyone okay with what is selected for them? Does anyone have any questions?
Shelley, I think you were the only one who wasn't here. Are you good with what Brett?
I feel bad, I don't wanna take someone else's spot on the capital projects if they're gonna be like at 3:30, 4 o'clock, cause I can't make it that early. If they're gonna be that early, I won't be able to attend with work, so it's really, if you think the meeting's gonna be at that time, then I should step down.
Mike?
I think typically we've been holding them around 4 because that was sort of a compromise between the professional staff here
I understand.
and those away.
So yeah, so if they're on a Tuesday, I can make it, but if they're not, I can't.
Okay.
So that's really gonna depend.
And you're good with the budget?
Yep.
We put, Brendan, blame him. He put you on budget.
Texted me, said you would like to when I was at the committee.
All right, so you're good with the budget.
Budget, yes.
You're stepping off of capital projects.
They're gonna be at 4 o'clock.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking.
Unless they're
That's fine.
Tuesdays. Unless they're Tuesdays. The Tuesdays I can go, but every other day I work till 6.
Well, is there,
We typically don't, I don't know if it matters or not, but only because we go Gloucester at 5:30, so we typically wouldn't have that at 4 on a Tuesday.
So it would be, okay.
Yeah.
So then I'll step down. Thank you, I
Okay.
appreciate that though. Thank you.
does anybody else want to step up for that committee if? We have Mark, Brendan, Beth.
I was the one that stepped down from capital projects, so Shelley, if you'd like, I can step back up and then.
Appreciate that, Aaron, thank you.
Aaron, I think you should join the wellness committee too and just complete
Should I just complete the
subcommittee
entire-
bingo.
I
That was a
second that.
possibility. When's that next wellness committee meeting?
The wellness is on the 24th.
I'll get back to you on that.
The- I'm not on that one.
Okay.
Okay. Can I get a motion, please, for,
I make a motion to I make, no, I appreciate it. I would like a revised appointment to budget, to the capital project subcommittee to appoint
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Okay.
The next one's Aaron's.
Yep. Resolution, full funding for categorical transportation aid.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the resolution in support of full funding of categorical transportation aid as presented in the packet.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. 13, resolution opposing Rhode Island Senate Bill S-2172, 2026. Aaron?
Madam Chair, I was the one that created this resolution, and it just passed Gloucester, so I wanted to also bring it up to Foster-Glocester as well. So the Rhode Island Senate Bill 2172 would allow, would revise the Labor Relations Act to allow teachers to actually strike. So it would actually, the only ones that it would give them a statutory right to strike for public sector workers, including teachers, with the exceptions for police officers, firefighters, 911 employees, and correctional officers. So teacher strikes have already been illegal in the state of Rhode Island since 1958 and was actually argued before the Rhode Island Supreme Court in 1973 in the School Committee of Town of Westerly versus the Westerly Teachers Association. So I wanted to put this out there just because of the fact that with the possibility and with the substitute teacher shortage that we're all currently going through and everything else, I think that this is something, it was just introduced this year, and I think that we need to stand up and say no. And again, with the revised, there's no revision, it just says that will allow teachers to strike. There's nothing else aside from that. So that's why I introduced this resolution to oppose this, and I'm asking that if we agree to it here at the region, that will also be sent out to the other school committees throughout the state to also get them on board, as well as given to the Rhode Island Senate, the House of Representatives, RIDE, the Rhode Island Association of School Committees, and the Rhode Island Superintendent's Association, just so that they are aware of this as well, because I think it's going to be a detriment, not just the school districts as a whole, but it will also allow for towns, say town clerks, in order to strike as well or anything like that. Again, the only exceptions would be for police officers, firefighters, 911 employees, those public safety employees. And I think that, not saying teachers would strike, but say if, mediation's not going well, that the collective bargaining agreement's not going well, what's stopping teachers, not saying that it would happen, from saying, okay, we're gonna strike at the first 3 days of school, and now you're trying to get substitute teachers on opening day. So that's why I put this resolution out there, and I would recommend passage if we all agree with that as well.
Make a motion.
So, Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the resolution in support of opposing Rhode Island Senate Bill 2172 as presented in the packet.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Facilities update.
Good evening.
Hi, Steve.
So obviously just been extremely cold past month with some big storms. Otherwise everything's pretty much operational. Nothing catastrophic, nothing too substantial, just a couple minor incidentals here and there. But with the cold weather and the massive snowstorm, everything from a facility standpoint is pretty copacetic at this point in time.
Thank you. That's great. Anyone have any questions? Thanks, Steve. Capital projects?
One thing on the facilities update. We chatted a little bit before the meeting. There's likely to be some guidance coming from the state soon regarding snow collection on roofs and how it should be handled by different schools and school districts. So Steve and Gary are ahead of it already, which is great to hear. But as a heads up to the rest of the committee, there will likely be something coming from RIDE shortly. And we shouldn't be surprised by it.
And we have already been in contact with our architects and engineers in regards to the snow load on our roofs at both buildings. We've already been confirmed that we are in good condition right now. There's no reason for concern unless we get an additional, 6+ inches of snow. We've already had the preliminary conversations with the superintendent in regards to if and when we need to take action. So in regards to snow loads and everything else, we're pretty comfortable at this point in time. So. Capital projects. Capital projects. So there's 3 items on the capital projects agenda. Basically, unfortunately, due to the snowstorm, we weren't able to have a capital projects full team review. The intent for these approvals right now is basically just to, as previously discussed at the last capital projects meeting, is basically just to approve the schematic design and for the hot water systems at both the high school and middle school, and then the Pontegansett Middle School boiler replacement. This is basically just to approve the schematic design that Aroni and Associates has provided us and to start the approval process through the RIDE portal. And then basically the third approval is for the underground storage tank. That's a full turnkey proposal, full 362,000 gallon, or $362,000 to remove the 10,000 gallon underground storage tank, replaced with a 8,000 gallon storage tank and all the upgraded necessary monitoring that goes along with it. So those are the 3 approvals that you'll see within the packet.
If I may, this was discussed in June, and we did try to put into the bids, this is very unfortunate, we did try putting.
Which portion was discussed
The
in June?
the underground oil tank, isn't
Okay.
that number 1?
Yep.
That is, so it's 300,000? That's the cost?
Turnkey, $362,000 for removal, permitting, replacement, and compliance.
We did try bringing this up in June to amend the bids. Do you remember that, Brendan?
That's what prompted this, I think.
And unfortunately, we tried, because we knew it was gonna cost more money if we didn't address the bids. Have them go, fix the bids then and try to get it rebid because we didn't put the boiler in, and that was the whole stall, because we said we didn't wanna,
Are you referring to Foster?
no, I'm assuming here, we had the meeting in the superintendent's conference room. We had the meeting here in the superintendent's conference room, and it was in June. And there was discussion about the underground oil tank, and I was questioning the likelihood of it lasting and the longevity of it. And because there was someone else that put a bid in that did not fit the scope of your plans.
So this project never went out to bid. These conversations were initiated due to our concern of the condition of the tanks within the properties and the age of the equipment. Gary and I initiated all these concerns knowing that we were moving into boiler replacement projects here at the schools. So it didn't really make sense to not address the schools. So these have not gone out to bid.
I know that's the problem. We tried addressing this in June when we were putting in the new heating system. And then I was told then in June that the underground water tank, the underground oil tank was fine, and it was grandfathered in, I was told then. But
The underground storage tank is 100% fine at this point in time. It is compliant. We have no deficiencies. It was inspected by a third party that we hired through the district, and then it was also inspected from a DEM personnel that came out per a complaint, an anonymous complaint, and we walked away with a clean bill of health on all inspections.
But yet we want to spend 300,000, and I completely get it.
Due
That's
to the age
it.
of the tank, and which, again, the information included within the inspection reports should provide the necessary information as to why we should move forward with some of these tank replacements.
I understand, but there was a bid that was received, and I understand it was not part of the bidding process. But there was someone that submitted a bid, and I asked for it to go back out to bid with the oil tank, underground oil tank
So
replacement.
this all has to do with the approval process and the intent. The RFP had nothing to do with a tank replacement at that point in time. We didn't have the necessary information to provide at that point in time. The RFP was for the in-kind replacement of the Pontegansett boiler. It said nothing to do with a underground storage tank. So ultimately, they didn't abide by the information within the RFP. So because one person provided an estimate with the underground storage tank information, that does no justice for the other bidding vendors against them, because that was not incorporated within the initial RFP. So we're talking about 2 entirely separate proposals.
I understand that, which is why I made a motion at the June meeting to amend the motion to have the underground tank put into the bid, so it would have been cheaper, because we knew it was gonna cost $300,000 is a lot of money. And
So,
if we
and that-
addressed, hold on, Steve, please let me finish. So if
Sorry.
we addressed it then in June, it's very likely it would not have cost so much money, because it would have been part of that same bid.
Shelley, we voted on that.
Actually, we did vote on it, and then we voted to approve it, and then we had another vote which voted against it. So we did vote on it, and we did vote to approve it, and then we were told to vote again because legal wasn't there.
Can
So-
I add one layer to this? So we're talking about apples and oranges here. Just because somebody incorporated a number and a line item within a proposal for replacing an underground storage tank, what does that incorporate? Does it incorporate a turnkey installation, permitting, soil sampling, DEM? I mean, we're really talking about apples and oranges. And ultimately, this is why the capital projects team, these discussions are made amongst the committee, and the committee comes to you with a recommendation. So after all those conversations were had, the committee came to you, and those were the decisions that were made, which brought us here to at this point in time.
Can I get a motion?
Well, can we pick them off, there's 3 motions there, can we pick off the easy 2 first, maybe?
Well, we just discussed this one, why don't we make a motion on the one we just finished?
If possible, I just wanted to sidebar and chat with Steve really quickly. Can we table that one just for a moment, so I can just have a better understanding, or we can,
And
Because it's on the
if
capital
need
projects
be,
committee.
we can have a follow-up capital projects meeting, and then we'll have to have an additional school committee meeting, because this is a relatively urgent matter for the facilities team, where we want to get these
understood.
things moving.
I'm just seeing if we can table it till after executive possibly, so while we have a brief intermission, I can just ask a.
Why don't you just,
Sure. Fine. So it is a big number, and it is a turnkey project, which I think is of value to the district. I think it makes sense, design, build, all under one contract. I am concerned, though, that it is a big number, and I think it's a little bigger than what we had talked about when we first talked about going out to bid for it. And I'm just curious if it makes sense for us to get several different bids for the work.
We did reach out in our previous capital projects meeting. I provided you with the initial removal proposal from Alliance. I want to say B.O. Smith, a company out of Connecticut.
Yes.
Provided us with basically just a set of drawings that we could have used to go out to bid. So some of these discussions did take place.
They did. The values, though, were a lot smaller when we had that meeting, at least by my notes here.
So again, because these are committee decisions, I'm more than happy to have a follow-up capital projects team meeting and have these discussions amongst the group.
Can we go out to bid again? I think that's what Brendan's saying. Can we go out to bid again?
I just want to make sure that we've done our full due diligence on this particular one, because I do think this number is bigger than what we had talked about at that subcommittee, unless other folks who were there feel differently. And I want to make sure that we're doing what we should do for it. I agree with the approach. I agree with the turnkey operation. I just want to make sure that we're getting the best value we can for it. And so we're working with that one vendor. I don't know that that's this number. That's the concern I have. I don't want to
Understood.
hold the project up.
so you want to go out to bid again?
I want to understand if we've compared this price as a turnkey operation to any other vendor who might be able to offer that same service. Because it's a larger value than what we had talked about at that meeting.
And I think it's best if we have a follow-up capital projects team,
And
so we can have
I-
in-depth discussions
I
in
apologize,
regards to
because I know
everything.
you wanted to have that meeting on Tuesday,
Yep.
and we weren't able to have
And
it.
I did also try to reach out.
You did. The value I had was a lot less. It was like, a fifth of this. And maybe it's my notes, maybe they were wrong. I mean, if someone wants to correct me on what that number was that we talked about for the price of this work.
Did you fully review the proposal that's in the packet?
I did. I had some concerns at the first meeting too with how we were handling some of the remediation work. And that is in here as well to a point, but they do have a lot of caveats in there as well as to what they do with, basically contaminated materials outside the first foot, contaminated materials outside the trenching back to the building. I just want to make sure that we've done our due diligence.
Not a problem. I'm more than happy to do it again.
If we do table that, what does it do to the full schedule? Because I also don't, I
mean,
get it, it's time sensitive.
Again, right now, we're pulling fuel out of our underground storage tank that's fully in compliance. The worst that happens, we put our boiler in place, and we're still pulling fuel out of the same tank. There really is no, again, the concern would be to get the tank replaced before next heating season. So we're, you know, and ideally, if we're gonna take action addressing the boiler room, it'd be nice to take action and expedite it and treat it as, you know, one construction package that we complete before the next year, the next heating season. Now, if we go back out to bid, as we know, things take time to do the approval process, and then we just run the risk of delay. And if that's what the committee chooses, then that's what the approach we'll take.
What was the number that the other committee members had?
So that was part of the challenge, because we didn't go out for like a specific RFP for a proposal for an underground storage tank due to the trying to expedite matters. So we reached out to multiple companies trying to get a similar proposal. Most companies will not provide you with a set of drawings because they own the drawings, they're providing the drawings, so there's an expense involved, which we are trying to get around. So basically, we reached out to multiple vendors. We received one proposal. The second proposal was basically a set of drawings that we have the opportunity to put out to bid, which we initially discussed and agreed that that wasn't a great approach. And then it was very difficult trying to find somebody in the limited time frame that we had, because basically the deadline was last capital projects meeting. So with the time restraints, that was all the information that we were able to compile. And here we are. So we can certainly go out for an additional RFP if we feel necessary.
Let me just the number I have written down on my notes was, we estimated this would be about $40,000. And that's why.
That is not, yeah, no,
That's why
not
I'm
accurate.
asking for other folks to confirm what they had written down in their notes and what the value was.
Right. I think the initial proposal for just the removal of the tank and backfill was somewhere around $340,000. And that's why we were very pleased to see that the removal and replacement came back at $362,000. So, yeah, it was not $40,000.
May I ask a question, please? Now, you're saying we're in compliance and everything is fine, so why are we expediting it? Is that why we're not getting as many? Because you are saying we're expediting it.
Because we do have right now we do get water seepage into the top of the tank. As we discussed previously, and which is identified in all the reports, the surrounding elevations are higher than the top elevation of the tank. So we pool water, and water does seep into the tank, which does create issues that we have to address. So, and the tanks are 35 plus years old. So they've met and exceeded their life expectancy.
Do I have a motion?
So Brendan, what are you asking for?
I would like to have that meeting that we tried to hold Tuesday, if we can hold it and put this on the March meeting, just for final approval, just from a comfort level, because that is a bigger number than what I recall us talking about. I hear what you're saying there. I have what I wrote here. If you have the paperwork that we shared, please do share it again. And if the other members of the subcommittee have different values that they recall, that's fine. It's just, it is a big number. I support the approach, but I want to make sure that we've done our due diligence just as a subcommittee before we approve it. If it's not going to kill the project, I think that extra month.
Kill the project.
Table it till,
If possible. I'm not trying to be difficult. It's just, it is a much bigger number than what I thought we would hear.
Okay. So we'll table this until the March meeting?
If it pleases the rest of the
And
committee.
I would
honestly, it is
appreciate
a
the full
committee.
support of the committee in some of these decisions, so I'm fully all for having a follow-up meeting for in-depth discussions in regards to these important topics here.
Okay. Thank you.
so let's do B.
All right, B, hot water tank replacement, design and approval, PHS, PMS.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the PMS and PHS hot water heater schematic design proposal.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the PMS boiler replacement design proposal.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Discussion approval of APRA coordinator.
I asked for this to be put on the agenda because Kyle has been spending hours beyond the typical job, her job description. She's here all hours of the night trying to address these. In 6 years, back in 2015? From 2015 to 2021, there were a total of 40 APRAs. We're currently now at 109. The APRA requests are coming in, and everyone has the right to make these requests. However, the large volume of requests that are coming in and the large amount of work that's going into addressing these APRA requests has really consumed a lot of Kyle's time. So I asked for this to be put on to discuss. It's gone way above and beyond her job description as it currently stands. We've gone from 40 to, in 6 years, to 9 in just a few years, 109. So what I'm asking for is some type of stipend to be, or a memorandum of agreement to be added to her contract to help compensate the large number of hours that are going into these requests.
So, in all due respect, this isn't anything personal. It's unfortunate that we are getting a lot now, but then it's gonna go back down. There's gonna be waves. That's just how it is in reality with anything. But once you open up that can of worms and create a stipend for somebody for when there's excess of anything, so say teachers during exam time, if it's part of the job description, I understand what you're saying.
It's
So
not
it isn't part, and I think that's the important thing, is it's not part of
it's
the
not
job
in her job
description. You have a
description.
policy that says she's the APRA coordinator, and she's never been compensated for it. So I hear
Okay,
what you're
so it's
saying,
not-
it's
so it's
not.
not in her job description.
So what's happening is that's taking all of her time and responsibilities, and then everything else that needs to be done.
Okay.
And she can keep track of
Thank
her
you for
hours. She's
clarifying.
not leaving before 6 or 7 o'clock.
Nope, thank you for
More
clarifying.
often
I
than
thought it was
not.
part of her job description,
It's
because it
not,
is
so
hours
that's
at
the ask, is that we add it in.
So for
and
whoever it is, if it's Kyle or
Yeah,
somebody
whoever-
else, it's
whoever.
just a stipend?
Yeah.
What are you thinking for a dollar amount?
Well, we haven't discussed that yet. I didn't know if you would be in,
Yeah.
in agreement. Cindy had brought it up, and we just pulled the numbers for you if you wanted to know the breakdown. But it's not just the APRA, at the time, it's what the APRAs are, and they're long, so they require a lot of time to also prepare them, respond. And so what I'd like to do is, if you're okay with it, is if you approve this, then I'll go back and I'll do a breakdown, and then you can say if you attach it to her contract, that way she sits in that position, and give her the title as she is a school committee clerk as well, and then you can add that in there, and then it would be an amount, rather than by APRA, it could just be a general amount, if you're comfortable with that.
So rather than putting it in the contract, if it could be anybody, then it should just be an APRA coordinator stipend, not necessarily in her contract. Is that, do you know what I'm saying? Because if that's what we're saying, it doesn't necessarily have to be the school committee clerk or your administrative assistant. It could be anybody. So if it was just, so it's not in the contract. So we'll approve
think
it
it
this
does have
evening,
to be
and
a
then you'll
school
come back to us. So before, we would approve the dollar amount. You would come back to us with your recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any opportunity to pass that cost through as part of the APRAs themselves? I mean, we do charge for the paperwork and things for the larger ones.
Not when they're asked for electronically, unless things, I mean, Greg can speak more to that. Cost has not been.
The APRA allows you to charge $15 an hour the cost of retrieval, review, and redaction.
For all APRAs?
All APRAs. And you cannot charge a per page cost. You could charge, it used to charge 15 cents a page when we did this with paper. Now everything's electronic, so you can't charge anything for the production of the actual email, digital document.
If I may, it seems like we're already kind of collecting for some of the larger ones, some of that,
No,
correct?
Not even
No.
close.
No?
I don't think you're not even close. It depends on the volume of the request, but for the most part, the amounts that you would be collecting, because there's so many of them, would not make
Yeah.
sense.
To be clear, I'm supportive of the proposal. I'm just looking if there's opportunity for us to either pass through the cost to some extent or to realize some of.
We try, okay, I'll give you one example. One of the, it's on your packet, is somebody named Figgis, if that's her real name, requested some documents. It was 90 pages. We were going to charge $66. She said that was too much and filed a public records complaint with the Attorney General, which is now going to cost you more money, because you can't charge for defending against an APRA complaint. So if you start a regular practice of charging people, you're going to get a bunch of public records complaints with the AG, which you cannot charge them for. And you're paying me to defend them.
Does anyone else have a comment?
So we don't need a motion right now because we're going to work on the amount, right?
I would recommend a motion approving a stipend
Okay.
to be added to Ms. Fratt's contract, which would be limited to when she performs duties as your APRA coordinator. So that would cover if you take those duties away from her at some point and give it to somebody else.
Okay.
At an amount to be negotiated between the superintendent, Ms. Fratt, with the committee's
And the
ultimate
committee.
approval.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve the stipend as determined by the superintendent for the APRA coordinator, Kyle Fratz.
Second.
Subject to school committee approval.
Subject to school committee approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. 17, public versus personal property for school committee members. Amy?
Yeah, I asked that this be put on kind of as an extension to what we've been talking about regarding utilizing school devices such as computers and cybersecurity. It was more for a question for Greg, in the sense that if we're using our personal cell phones to communicate with people who have questions or concerns within the public, I guess I'm looking for, some guidance around like a protection for school committee members in that sense, because, I'll speak for myself, given that I get significant numbers of text messages that are from an unidentified person, but are related to the school committee. I just went and looked on the town website and the school website, because when I first started, our phone numbers were listed on the town website. They are no longer there at this point, but that's been changed. But just in regards to, if a constituent were to send messages and they were like harassing or coercive in messaging, are school committee members allowed to block phone numbers from their personal cell phone?
If you're getting abusive and harassing text message, my recommendation would be not only to block them, but to report that to the police.
Right. I have gone to...
There is statutes in Rhode Island that make it a felony to threaten public officials.
Right, okay.
By any communication method.
Okay.
It's a felony.
Okay. And they haven't been threatening in nature. But I did actually seek, I did consult the Gloucester Police on it at one point. Do you think it's like a state police issue?
I would refer to the state police.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there anything, would a school committee member be in violation if they blocked someone on their personal cell phone?
There's some settled law. You may be familiar with the issue with Twitter, or X, now they
Right.
call it, and whether you can block, whether a public official who uses their Twitter account as their official account
Right.
can block constituents from posting messages on that account. And there was some litigation from a prior administration. I think it's still kind of unsettled as to what the law is there. I don't really think that would apply. If you're providing your cell phone number for members of the public to contact you, that's different than passively, having a Twitter account or some social media account.
It brings up another solid
Yeah.
point. If you are using, let's say, your own personal social media account to respond to something, like, because it has happened on social media where there'll be a school committee issue and they'll tag every single member of the school committee, and those are personal accounts, not school committee official account. So if you are to respond, or block someone from that, even like if they're harassing you via social media, then I guess my question is, I've been told that there is potentially, like, you can't do that, but, I mean, I have my own personal feelings on that, and I'll block anyone I feel like blocking, but other people may
Again,
not do that.
I think it would depend on how you use, you could have a personal social media account, but if you use it to post political
Right.
issues.
Well,
you
you
know, if you
create
have
like a separate one for
yeah,
that.
If
It's
you have
kind
a separate one,
of- Right.
you can block, I think you can block them on that,
Okay.
but on your personal account.
So
Cell
la-
phones are different. I mean, you're using a personal cell phone, it's much more intimate. It's not, you know, if you get a phone call at 11 o'clock at night on your cell phone, that's different than somebody posting
Right.
a response to a tweet that you may not read for days if
Right.
you don't go on your account.
Right.
It's a completely different situation. So I don't think you would have a problem blocking people who are abusive to you.
Yeah, okay. Last question. As far as putting a phone number out there, I know, I don't know how it's been handled in the past. Like I said, our personal numbers were listed. They're no longer on there now. Should there be an alternative, like a, I don't know, if you have extensions through like the school, you know, to get, like a school committee member could be assigned like an extension and a voicemail through the school. And then if, you know, I don't know, I mean, I know no one sitting up here wants to, you know, check their voicemail separately to be able to access those messages. But if there was a way to have like a voicemail like sent to you, is that a thing?
So I'm old enough to remember when there was a world without these.
Right, yeah,
And
me
that's
too.
exactly what they did. People had mail and phone calls sent to the school district because they didn't want to have their personal home phone listed. So that's certainly doable. I mean, I'm sure Dave, I know
Right.
Dave could handle something like that where you could assign a school, your central directory and have that
Right.
assigned, and that could be the official account. You could also have have school cell phones assigned to each of you
Right.
and use those.
There's a cost
It just
associated with that, yeah.
It becomes cumbersome. You have two phones. I mean, Renee has that. So, but it might make sense to look into having a voicemail box.
I'm guessing that we can set up, just, I mean, Google, you can just set up a phone number through there and it can just forward
Yeah,
to you.
I mean,
I'm sure that
Right.
there's a way that
Yeah, I was
perhaps.
just thinking about futuristically speaking too, like, because obviously some of the issues that come before us are pretty controversial, and as just a privacy and safety issue, it's just something to
It's very
be aware of.
It's a very good idea. I think that's why the
Thank you.
superintendent
Thanks, Amy.
encouraged putting us on here today.
All right, 18, seek to convene to executive session to discuss and/or vote on the following matters.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to convene to executive session to discuss and/or vote on the following matters: Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A, job performance, non-renewals of non-tenured teachers; Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A, Section 8, privacy of student records, homeschool approval; Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A, legal advice/pending litigation; OMA complaint, November 10th, 2025, Barrett v. Foster-Glocester Regional School Committee; 2, OMA complaint, 12/16/2025, Whitfield v. Foster-Gloucester Regional School; 3, OMA complaint, 12/19/2025, Pezza v. Foster-Gloucester Regional School Committee; 4, update, Barrett v. Foster-Gloucester Regional School District, APRA, November 19th, 2025; update on Figgis v. Foster-Gloucester Regional School Committee, APRA, November 16th, 2025; APRA number 106, January 17th, 26, Barrett request; Number 7, APRA number 107, January 18, 26, S. Dalton request; and 8, update ride complaint 25-074A regarding Ward v. Barrington et al. CTE petition; and per Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A, collective bargaining; update of unfair labor practice, case number ULP-6433 by Neopon, hearing rescheduled to February 24th, 2026.
Second.
Could you repeat those?
I think we can get the playback.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And it's 8 PM.
Executive session? Aye.
One vote was taken.
We're on, yeah, go ahead.
One vote was taken, and it's reconvened to open session at 9:11 PM.
Wait, do we have that on 9/11?
9:11? Okay. One vote was taken
Where's that
in the
motion? I'll read
affirmative
it.
for homeschooling.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the non-renewals of the non-tenured teachers.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
What's next?
Public comment related to open session agenda items.
No public comment.
Adjourn meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's 9:12
Adjourned
PM.
at 9:12 PM.
Thank you.
With what guy?
It's the same messages. Started 2 weeks ago. From the same guy. And